shit. Chapter 619. You know what? This makes sense because when you got like the whole thing with Jinbe and everything, there was a mention of Fishman Island, if I'm not mistaken, and I think one of the silhouettes that was on there was Arlong's silhouette. I think we got this with Boa Hancock's flashback and all that. Oh shit! So Jinbe is the one who set Arlong out into the East Blue. I can't wait to see how Jinbe and Nami are going to interact now. I can't wait to see that because basically, you know, Nami's probably thinking, what if Jinbe never released Arlong? That would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. Like, holy shit. That is big, man. Oda just dropped a bombshell. This is why I like reading One Piece more so than any other mangas I've read, right? And it's because Oda gets these character interactions. He gets them. Every character's got a different personality. You know, like you see that in Naruto, you see it in Dragon Ball, you see it in Bleach. Everybody has a different personality. But where Oda truly shines is with the interactions with the characters. And just to see how they kind of play off of each other. And Oda just mixes and matches people. And you just see it just pop. It just pops, man. Like, it's kind of like when, for me, I got on a football hoodie now. I don't use analytics when I watch football games, right? I don't care how many sacks the line allowed or how many touchdown passes Eli Manning gets or any quarterback. I go with my eyes. And my eyes would tell me that, oh yeah, it's a 70-yard touchdown pass, but the guy caught the ball, you threw it 5 yards, and the right receiver broke it out. But all the credit, for the most part, goes to the quarterback when we talk about the game. And so it's the same thing. Like, I'm not looking at this from a technical aspect, like on how Oda does the interactions with the characters. I'm just looking at it for what it is. And it just pops. Like, you know, special when you see it. And that's the true highlight to this series to me, is the character interactions. I feel like this is what makes this series as great as it is. Not the world building, not the fights, not the humors. Excuse me, the humor. It's the interactions. And just the way Nami is looking, she has that shocked expression. That's huge. Like, that one little small panel spoke volumes. And even like the way that, like, when Oda had Jinbe say the one who released Arlong into the East Blue was I, and you see how like the panel is drawn with the black backdrop and everything, beautiful, beautiful. It just adds a level of tension and to conflict, but also there's this suspense there. There's this emphasis. There's this foreboding feeling. And this is good. This is really, really, really good, man. Really good. Like, a lot of shonen fans, they get it mixed up. They feel like in order for conflict to exist, you need people to fight. No, you get conflict with scenes like this. Even if Nami in the next chapter says, it's okay, I forgive you. Even if that happens, just on a week-by-week basis and releasing it like this, it gets the the anticipation building up. It gets it building up. And even then, if she forgives him, you still have to look at it and pay attention to how she interacts with Jinbe to look for signs there. And you have to look at it from the character's perspective. What is the character going through? This is beautiful. This is really beautiful, man. Really beautiful. So, I also liked how Otohime, right? The Wimpy, right? You know, I'm gonna use Luffy's name. You know, Wimpy. You know, the mermaid princess. You know, I like how she's at the grave of her mother, and Jinbe's like, hey, you know, she got it at the worst time. She got it at the worst time, man, because you got Vanderdecker and basically throwing all these weapons and objects at her, and she's been locked away in the tower for all this time. And you gotta understand, she hadn't been able to come to her mother's grave, and it's been a long time since she's been able to speak to her, so she probably has a lot to say. And that's just very beautiful. That's very beautiful. I like how, like, the tears are in her eyes, and just like the way she's drawn, it's like you can see the weight, the burden being lifted off of her. And this is again, this is another case of tension. I like this, but I also like how with this one panel you get a lot of payoff. Like Luffy's interactions with her and putting up with all the sobbing and the insecurities, everything's clicking. Everything's clicking. This is good. This is very good. Like a lot of mangaka, they struggle with giving a proper payoff, and Oda's doing it in single panels. So I mean, I like this. I like this, and this isn't going to be a chapter I kind of wink off Oda, but I do want to kind of point this type of stuff out because, at the risk of sounding a wee bit arrogant, I am going to say this, right? Like with some of my favorite reviewers, like when Naruto was going on a weekly basis, and when Bleach was going on a weekly basis, some of my favorite reviewers, one of the things I used to enjoy their reviews, right? And this is what I want to kind of bring to, my channel is I enjoyed their reviews, and they talk a lot about the story, and I talk a lot about the story. But at the same time, I felt as if they didn't pay as much attention to the actual manga panels with the placement and the positioning of the characters, and like the small stuff about how like the backdrop is kind of shaded in a particular way and relating like the payoff to particular panels. I mean, like it gets brought up in passing, but I feel as if a lot of the reviews, they either go for clicks to try and get the super exciting stuff and say, ha, you won't believe this, Luffy fought 7,000 swordsmen and did it with his pinky, and you're automatically going to click on it because it's just like, holy shit, this is amazing. But at the same time, it's just like the small moments like this kind of feels as if like sometimes they get kind of brushed over. And it's to each his own, man. It's to each his own. I just feel like since manga is a visual medium like this, you have to look at it a little more critically. You have to look at it like with things like expressive art and pay attention to movement and shading because it's a craft. And so I'm gonna step off on that part right there and kind of get more into the actual meat of the chapter, if you will. So I like how when Jinbe is explaining and he's just like, yeah, I released Arlong and I wanted to thank you, but I released Arlong. And it's like these two go hand in hand, and it's what I've constantly referred to with Oda. Oda hits you with the soft hand, and hits you with the heavy hand, and he literally does it within a few pages of each other because he's just like, yeah, Jinbe's thanking Luffy for taking out Arlong. Oh, that's pretty cool. And I like how when Oda's building this up and he sees Hachi being let down, and he's just like, I thought you were captured with Arlong. And you see Hachi just completely just rough shot, beat up, right? And then you get this huge, shoe drop. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, another thing I thought was pretty cool was, you got Sanji's interactions. And it's just like, okay, you think even at this point, Oda realized, I can't have Sanji turning to stone and needing a blood transfusion every time he sees women, because one thing that's being very clear based off of these designs is I see what you guys were telling me way back, I think like chapter 120, somewhere around there, when I think I titled it very fucked up title. I said Luffy and Vivi have boobs, and it's because I couldn't tell from the designs. And you guys kept telling me, oh, when you get to a time skip, you're gonna see this shit. And this is interesting. This is really interesting. And you guys didn't call it a time skip. You said when you get to the New World, but this is interesting because it kind of feels like Oda's gonna go for more of a fan service type thing, not fairy tale level of fan service, but I mean, we're gonna get some moments where, holy shit. Now, I'll call it fairy tale level of fan service if Oda starts slipping in panty shots and everything. If that happens, it's there. If he just has complete, emphasis right on the boobs, like panels drawn like that, because we got a little bit like the little jiggles and shit, but we'll see. But I think Oda even realized, Sanji's got to pull it together. Sanji's got pulled together, and I'm going to stick with that. I think, you know, Sanji's kind of training to get himself ready for the whole Big Mom, because it's the only female, you know, emperor that we got. So I mean, it would just make sense, you know, if she's like a raging babe and Sanji has to be in her presence, he can't be walking around with a heart on, because that's going to be the easiest target to take out. But what's really interesting is you got Franky, and he's like, yeah, Luffy, who's the babe with you? And he's like, oh, your name's Wimpy, you better pull it together. And it's just like these interactions. And when Luffy's explaining to him the situation, and Tom, it gets brought up by Franky, and Luffy's just like, yeah, I didn't hear any of that shit. So apparently you're this guy is coding your brother. Is that what you're trying? He's coding your master's brother. And this is like, Luffy would be, either he's trolling or he will be the absolute worst person to play that telephone game with, where it's just like, you know, you tell one person one thing and they tell you the other, and it's just to teach the little kids how, you know, things change, you know, story by story with people. And I remember when, you know, I used to play that shit as a little kid, right? Like, I was like in kindergarten, first grade, and all this other shit. And I would purposely just change this shit just to fuck with people. And so this is like what I think Luffy's doing, man. This is what I think Luffy's doing. Now, the other part of this chapter, what a lot of you guys are probably saying, I can't wait for him to talk about this. So, you got Hody Jones. He had been completely knocked out, right? And then they give him that fish pill steroid when Zoro and Usopp and Brook are being carried away by the King Neptune, and he uses that awesome attack to open up, you know, a way for his men to escape. He's saying, go get my sons, go get the princess here. Hody Jones just stops at will like it ain't nothing. And I mean, yeah, he's shown some strength or whatnot, but what's really interesting about this is everything that happened off panel is Zoro was moving faster on the water than a fucking fish man. Whatever the fuck Mihawk did with Zoro, I need that workout plan. That shit's some other shit, man. Like, for him to improve like that in 2 years, that's pretty fucking impressive, yo. That's really fucking impressive. So, I like that aspect of it, and I like how, you know, you get this glimpse that the king was really powerful, and yet Father Time is undefeated, baby. And, you know, his back is bothering him. And he's like, yeah, my bad back is keeping me from doing more. It's just like, maybe in his prime, he probably could have stopped Hody Jones. And that might have been why Hody even needed to join the army to train to get stronger, because he knows he couldn't fuck with this guy. So, I mean, this is interesting. This is interesting. And, you know, you get the one shot where, you know, even Zoro's saying, I can't breathe right now. They're probably going to put the, you know, bubbles around him in order to give him the oxygen. But now there's like a true sense of danger, impending doom that's coming. So, I mean, I like this. I like this a lot. And it would be very interesting if you see the princess team up with Zoro, and they got to team up with the guy who was holding their father hostage. That'd be really fucking awesome. But, you know, overall, this is a good chapter. My chapter question for you guys is going to be, let's have some fun with this, right? What do you think would have happened if All Along was never set free by Jinbe? How do you think it would change, in particular, Nami's character arc? What do you think would happen? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Have an awesome day.